Australia's latest economic growth data is lower than what markets were anticipating, and there's warnings of further deterioration in the months ahead. Joining us now is the Chief Market Strategist at Investsmart, Evan Lucas. Evan, good morning to you. So should we be taking the lower GDP figures as good news or bad news?
Yeah, Pete, that's a great question because the news would be good from an RBA perspective and also from the idea that we're trying to slow down at a gradual rate, making sure that we can start bringing inflation down because a slower economic activity will certainly bring inflation with you. The catch with it is that if you've got a slower economic scenario, you're going to start seeing increases in the unemployment rate. And I think that needs to be pointed out very clearly, that once you start to see economic activity down, when you start to see earnings on the way down, that therefore will inevitably bring some form of change to the employment rate. And look, yes, it's at 40-year lows on both the unemployment, the underemployment and underutilisation, which is a very positive thing. But there's no doubt slowing down on the economic side will mean a slowing down on the employment drive we've had. So there's push-pulls. It will mean that obviously we can possibly get through the issues that we've got with inflation, but it does come with a cost.
Yeah, there's always push-pulls, aren't there? Now, there are signs that firms are taking steps to prepare for recession. Is that what you're seeing as well, Evan?
Yeah, so it's not just an Australian story, it's an international story. And I think what we've already seen, we've talked about, what's been going on in things like freight and discretionary with seeing, FedEx, UPS, Amazon cutting staff. It's now spreading more broadly, and it's the global story. So if you listen overnight, the next sector to always watch is finance. And the reason finance is the next one, M&A deals around expanding, needs for loans, etc., start to slow down. So Morgan Stanley have cut their staff by 1,600 globally. You've seen JP Morgan suggesting they're going to cut their global staff by 4%. Goldman Sachs the same. So it's the next step. That's the prep that you always start to see in these early parts of the cycle, which suggests the recession is coming. It means that, we know that finance is now having to slim down because the demand for it is going to get smaller. That is all signs that recession is coming in 2023.
How do you think Philip Lowe feels about that, Evan?
He will be concerned, but I will argue this. I know he's got issues and his communication has been poor. He will be certainly looking at this going, that's a chance to actually therefore pause. If he's starting to see the data is going the way it is, it was very interesting that on Tuesday, he put in the month-on-month inflation data, not the quarterly data, which they've always done. He put the month-on-month data, and it shows that it's slowing down. As I just said, the GDP is slowing down. So he will see this as a sign that what they have done is working, and maybe what they have done is enough. And that's the question we're all asking. Is this enough to now give them a chance to pause and wait to see if more and more data shows it's slowing down? And therefore, the 8 rate rises we've seen is enough to actually do what they needed to have done.
When do you think we will know for sure if we are heading to a recession or not? What will be the key indicator and when?
So sure is a word I can't use. And the reason I say that, there will be always, other things. What will be signs are if you continue to see commodities showing the incredible, elevated prices they have, holding up net exports, but things like discretionary spending are going backwards. So if you see on that GDP figure, consumption is slowing down, particularly from the household spending sector. Government spending holds or slightly contracts and net exports hold, that would be the win. So that, in answer to your question, that would be the sign that we are slowing down correctly, that demand is going the right way, that inflation can start coming down, but it's not going to cause a recession. Again, the caveat I have for you is that it's never that easy. No. We have all sorts of other issues. Look, China is the unknown story here, and you've already showed that in your previous answers, is that if China does reopen, then that will probably happen because the demand for commodities will pick up again. China will start to re-stimulate itself. And again, we get to be that lucky country. Yeah. So that would be the way we'd get through it.
Well, I mean, I would have thought the stock market here would go gangbusters if China reopens the way it was.
So it already sort of has. And why I say that, the interesting thing is, as we speak, Pete, for this calendar year, the ASX on a total return basis is up. It's actually up 1.8%. We're down on a capital basis only 2%. Who would have thought? And it is because of commodities, as you just alluded to.
Okay. Evan, appreciate that. As always, thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, mate.